Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Action Podcast, the best podcast in the world. Today we have a special co-host Sam, and we have a special guest Francis. Hey man, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. How are you?
Good.
You?
I as well.
That's nice.
So for the people that don't know Francis, who is Francis, and what does he do,
Oh,
and what is he known for?
Francis is an aspiring artist. He's known for his music. I'd like to believe. I'd say that he doesn't fit into any category, any genre specifically, and there's this versatility, and people can't quite pinpoint exactly what he's on, and there's this interest that it creates through his music. So that's who Francis is, and that's what Francis does. You can check him out on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, and all these streaming platforms.
Okay. So you released a song on Friday, about 3 days ago, which we're going to speak about firstly. You can start, bro.
Yeah, I had a question about that song. Actually, my favorite song of the album. Ashtray.
Of the EP, right? Is it EP?
EP. There's this line where you said, "Should I do college or music?" Now my question is, it's normal to be faced with a certain decision, moving into university and what have you. My question is, what would your aim be with music? What do you want to achieve with music?
I do not set limits for myself. I want to achieve everything there is to achieve in whatever endeavor it is I choose to pursue, right? If I choose to become a doctor, I want to be the best doctor. If I want to choose, become a musician, I want to be the best musician.
So that's what your aim is to
That's
make the
my
best
aim
music
is
possible.
to make the best music possible and completely outcompete everybody in the market.
I like that.
Right.
I mean, no doubt you want to get to the highest place you can get to, but if there was a position you would like to achieve at the very least, what would that be?
At the very least,
Yes.
then you see, I'm not comfortable with that at the very least mentality anymore. I used to be okay with that, with at least I'm here,
No, not that you'd be comfortable getting to that place, but you say you have no limits as far as
Yes.
what you want to accomplish. But what's one thing you really want to accomplish that there's no way you can't get there?
All right.
For lack of a better way to put it.
I understand your question, but my answer is that I'm happy where I am at all times because I know that I'm trying my best to do what I'm doing. So if in 5 years' time I'm still where I am, knowing that I tried my best, I think that's completely okay because I tried my best and I applied everything. All of my knowledge and the work ethic never changed. It's quite consistent. So I'd say that there is no place where I would like to be at the very least.
Okay.
And there is no limit to where I'd aspire to be.
So essentially, you don't have a goal.
My goal is to be the best.
The best
The
artist.
best, yes, and to keep improving. That is my goal. Just to keep improving and to be the best. You can't, the same way that there's no limit to infinite, there's no limit to the ambition.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, my other question, if music doesn't turn out to be very successful for you, what would you do in college, university?
Medicine.
Okay.
Hmm?
What's it like being a doctor?
Yeah, being a doctor. I specialize in neurosurgery,
Okay, like brain stuff.
brain stuff.
And why do you feel like you have to choose between college and music? Why can't you do both at the same time?
I think you can do both up to a certain point. At a certain point, they might become mutually exclusive because what I do want to pursue, neurosurgery, is regarded as one of the hardest branches of medicine. To do that while doing music, I will probably, I'm not sure, but I will probably have to sacrifice one of them. So I know that eventually I'll come to a crossroads and one of them will have to be chosen. Right now I can afford to do both because both are at a difficulty that they don't take as much time and I can split it evenly, but eventually I'll have to choose.
Okay, because in the same song that you released on Friday, you expressed a feeling of confusion. I mean, you
Indeed.
expressed being confused. So, as of now, what do you think is the thing you're more likely to do? Do you think you're going to pursue college or music itself?
At the moment, I'm gonna pursue college and music until that point where I have to choose. I'm gonna keep doing both until I have to choose. I'll know when I have to choose. I don't have to choose yet which one I have to do. I can do both, but eventually I will have to make a choice.
Make a decision. Okay.
Do you have any sort of idea now of what you prefer to do? Any kind of, are you inclined to one decision already from now?
Oof, it's a great question. I'm inclined to music,
Okay.
right? I'm inclined to music. It's far more enjoyable for me. I don't necessarily think I'm better at it than I would be at being a doctor. I think I'd be a better doctor than I would be a musician.
Really?
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay.
I do
Why is
feel-
that?
I think I'm just, my mind has been primed scientifically since I was a child, and I've always enjoyed, this whole scientific thing and learning and biology and medicine and physics. I think I'd made for a great doctor if I put in as much effort as I do into all of the other things I do in life.
Okay. Why don't you pursue music then? If it's something you're more passionate about.
I am pursuing it.
I mean solely music.
The risk is very great, and I don't think I have to take that risk yet. I don't think I have to take the risk of just making music and completely dismissing college at the moment.
Okay. I mean, also you're interested in college, right?
Also,
You're
I'm
interested
interested in college.
you're interested in doing the course that you want to do.
Yeah, precisely.
Okay.
Right. So you mentioned again in Ashtray, not again, a different thing, in the same song. You said it's been a minute since I last prayed. Right at the beginning. To what degree is religion important to you, and how has it impacted your music?
Wow.
Are you like really like God's man, God's child?
Look, I'm a Christian, right? I do go to church and I do pray, but there are phases. There are phases in my life, and in some phases there is more devotion than in other phases. And when I wrote that, I was in a phase of low devotion, a phase where I believed, but where my faith wasn't strong enough to drive me to being consistent in pursuing religion and staying true to it. Right.
Being persistent as in you weren't praying as often as usual.
I wasn't praying as often as usual. I wasn't chasing, and I wasn't trying to improve from a religious aspect.
Is it your plan or your routine, shall I say, to pray every day?
Yes,
Every day.
yes. I
Okay.
should pray every day. I believe everyone has to pray every day. There's only advantages to it.
And how does being religious affect your music?
Mm.
If
Well,
it does.
It affects my life, and my music is about my life, right? The music I make right now, everything, if you pay attention, is very personal. So,
Right.
how it does affect my music is how it affects my life, and it affects my life in the following ways. I choose to stray from certain behaviors that I would classify as like degenerate, like premarital sex and etc. etc. So if you notice, there's certain things that I regard as negative in my songs, like drug usage and sex and all of these stuff. I mention it, but there's a connotation that I'm trying to say that it's bad, right? So that's how it affects my music. My music is my point of view on life at the moment. This EP is my point of view on life. Maybe in the future I'm going to adopt a different approach, but that's how it affects my music. Is.
Okay.
So your music is very like based on the way you are, true to your morals and everything.
Yes, most of it.
That's interesting. That's real. Final question from my part. You had the song "Take You Away" in Woes. Very emotional song compared to what you usually make. It's a bit sad, bit vibrant. What was the inspiration behind that? Some kind of heartbreak, some kind of lady problems?
It was loss.
Really?
Loss, yes.
What kind of laws?
Different kinds of losses. There's the loss of the first kind of loss actually is right now, this age, the friends are splitting up. You know, we're going to different parts of the country, etc. And there's this bittersweetness to it because we are growing up and we're finally approaching financial independence and exploring different venues of life and improving ourselves. But we don't get to be with each other as often, and the intensity of the relationship has inevitably taken a toll as a result. So there's that loss to it. Then there is also loss of like family in a sense, not death, of course, but loss of connection, loss of relationships. I feel that as I grow up, there's like don't resonate as much with certain people, and you sort of have to let them go because your ideals do not align, and you've kind of lost. You've lost that relationship. You've lost what you've built over decades.
Is this sort of like that degenerate sort of behavior that you saw in those people that you found repulsive?
Not many people. Mostly it's because I just feel like the ideals do not align. That if I spend too much time with certain people, they will kind of erode on my ideals, and that happens if you have certain ideals and you hang out with someone who has the opposing ideals and they're constantly challenging them, and you're constantly challenging theirs. Inevitably, you're gonna start questioning your own. They're gonna start questioning their own, and it's hard to stick to something when you're not confident that that's something that you want to do.
And you started to pick up on that, on some of those,
Started to pick up on that,
on those ideals, and vice versa, really.
And I feel it's a necessary step in life to, hey, take a step back and say, okay, I gotta choose.
Okay. What does Clear, the EP, mean to you? I mean, I don't even know if you'd call it an EP because really there are 5 songs being released consecutively for a period of 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, firstly, I guess my question is officially on SoundCloud, sorry, on Spotify at least, it is an EP.
Right.
So, do you call it an EP, or is it more of just songs that are being released over 5 weeks?
So officially it is an EP, but the only reason I release it as an EP is due to financial constraints, right? I have to pay an extra fee to release the songs over 5 weeks. That's what I wanted to do.
Oh, so the songs are released. I mean, every time you release a song, you have to pay for it on Spotify.
The package I have for you release music through distributors. You pay them, and they release your music to the streaming platforms. They submit them for revision. So I submitted for revision, and the package, of course, that I have only allows me to publish once a month, and I wanted to publish once a week. If I wanted to publish once a week, then I'd have to pay extra.
Okay.
And all of my finances are focused on promotion. I feel that is my biggest lacking point.
Okay.
When I started focusing on promotion, I started seeing a lot better results. Started paying for promotion. I figured out that people didn't know who I was. That's why I didn't get as many views. And if they did, they'd enjoy it, and I get a lot more attention, and that's been the case.
Now, why upload 5 songs in 5 consecutive weeks? What is the whole purpose of that strategy?
Right. So why upload 5 songs in 5 weeks? Now I feel that the whole idea of the EP for up and coming artists is not beneficial for them. People will generally listen to the first track, kind of listen to the second, and consider listening to the third. The fourth and fifth, very rarely, people listen to everything. Those people either know you or they really enjoy your music. So, to maximize exposure and to maximize play time for each song, and I want to give each song the opportunity to shine and for people to listen to it throughout, I decided to release one song every week. Now, why the interval every week is because I feel that they're distant enough for there to be a cool down between my release and then my consecutive release, and they're not too close. Because if they're too close, I post a link today, I post a link 2 days after, you're not going to, most likely not going to click it. People get tired really quickly. So you want to play with their psychology a little. And this is a scheme. It's my first time doing it. I came up with it. It might not even work that well. And if it doesn't, I'll readapt.
Okay.
So that's the name of the game.
Did you think of doing it for longer than 5 weeks?
No, I thought of doing it for 4 weeks, but then one day I was at home, making dinner, I believe, while producing. And then I just happened to make the instrumental for Ashtray. And then I just happened to have the idea, the song idea. And I said, no, I gotta release this shit. And then I said, okay, I'm not going to make this an official release. I'm just gonna release it on Instagram. But then I said to myself, I think this is a really good song. And if I don't give it as much exposure that I give all of my other songs, I'm being very unfair to it. Because some people might resonate with this song more than they do resonate with other songs. So why not expose it as much as I do others? Let's make it 5 weeks.
Do you find that some of the best songs you make come when you're not trying that hard? By accident?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I noticed that a lot.
Most occasions, most of the songs I make don't even make it to release. They're hidden somewhere, and there's so many unreleased songs that I've even forgotten how many they are, and I just happened to stumble upon something I made 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did make this. And yeah, it's this thing. When I sit down and say, today I have to make a hit, I usually don't make a hit.
Yeah.
But when I'm just fucking around and I go on the internet and I listen to some music and I say, wow, this sounds good. I want to make something kind of like this or something exactly the opposite of this. That's what I usually do.
To make the opposite of what you heard?
Yeah. For example, if I hear a very chill beat, I'm gonna say I want to make the exact opposite of this.
Okay.
I'm gonna make something very aggressive, very gritty. So.
Interesting.
After a week after the 5th week of the release, on the sixth week, what do you expect? Do you wish to have more exposure by then, or what do you expect your?
Look, I've been, if you've noticed, I've been very consistent on Instagram, which is the platform I'm most prominent on. And I started this prominence 4 weeks ago, which is when I announced the release of my project, right?
Okay.
So this whole thing, everything, all of this posting and everything is planned, and it's designed to maximize reach and exposure. And I have seen significant results since I started being consistent and making content. I've managed to, before the paid promotion, I managed to reach 2.6K accounts, new accounts. And after the exposure, it's been at least 10 to 11,000. My followers didn't grow significantly, but I think it was 15 to 10. But 15 people I believe 15 people is a lot of people. One person is a lot of people. Everybody matters. So.
That's a very politically correct thing to say.
Right.
I must admit.
So been here for 4 weeks.
Everybody's equal.
And it's an 9-week plan. And I will have a lot more exposure by then. This is my 4th week, and the exposure is like this. And I plan on releasing a lot more stuff. People are gonna enjoy what's coming, I'm sure. So things will only get better for me.
So it's not just the music.
No.
You're doing a lot more than the 5 releases.
Yeah, there's a lot of visuals involved, a lot of photos involved, a lot of reels involved. There's a lot of experimentation too, right? Some things work very well, some things do not work at all. I tried a live video while I was producing a track. At a certain point, there was 0 viewers. So I understood that, okay, people do not fuck with this kind of content exactly. If it was different kind of content, it would definitely have a lot more viewers. So I'm learning throughout the process, and it's been very fatiguing but enjoyable too, I must say.
Do you think that you will become monetized by the end of the 5 weeks, or shortly after the 5 weeks?
No, I don't think I'll be making significant amounts of money by then.
No, I mean like $1. You know how many plays Spotify requires per dollar?
Oh, well, actually, if that's the case, then I've already made money from streams.
Really?
Yeah, and of course, I will make more money from streams because I'm releasing tracks and people will stream them. Well, I have made money, but it's not enough for me to withdraw.
Absolutely. Oh, so it's made.
And
Kept by the-
they keep it over there. They say this is your balance, but you have to make more than this
To
for
get it.
you to withdraw it. Yeah,
Okay.
And how much is that amount?
$3, I believe. Is it $3? I think it's $3.
They won't let you have $3? For
$3 or $10, one of those.
which
Yeah, I think it's $3. United Masters that is the distributor. They collect. No, actually, we don't collect any royalties. It's royalty free.
How does the distributor benefit from the agreement with the artist?
You see, now that's where it comes. Most people will pay for those premium packages where you can release anytime you want. And that's how they make money primarily. There's also probably some sponsorship deals. Yeah.
Okay. On your song Trials and Tribulations, you said something along the lines of, knew that love was messed up when I saw my mama cry.
Knew that life was fucked up.
Oh, life is fucked up.
Yeah.
When I saw my mama cry. Can you speak a little bit on that experience when you saw your mom in such a sad moment?
Yeah. So kids intuitively they hold their parents in the highest regard, right? Because their parents they've always been taller than them, bigger than them. And if you notice, whenever you don't know what to do, your parents usually know what to do. You don't know how to get something, they usually know how to get that thing. So to see someone who usually has everything figured out, everything organized, everything sorted out, broken, and in a state of little hope, that does tend to fuck you up, right? And you realize that, okay, so if this person can get broken down by life, if I don't become stronger, then I'm probably gonna get pretty roughed up too, right? So life is like that. It's not just bad for one person. Different people have different phases. They have different happy moments, different sad moments, and you have to acknowledge that. Be prepared for that, or you're gonna fall.
Was there a specific event when you saw your mom cry? Was there something specific that happened?
There have been events, yes, which I would not want to expand on, but one that I can expand on is her father's funeral. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a memorable event, not in a good way, I must add. Yes.
Right. Well, we definitely respect your decision not to speak about topics that you don't feel comfortable speaking on. I noticed authenticity from your songs in the beginning. In one of your earlier songs, you said you made reference to drugs, and you said, "I don't do drugs. All I do is change flows and etc." How important was being authentic to you in the beginning of your career?
I was being authentic without knowing I was being authentic. It just came to me intrinsically. But at the same time, my authenticity was kind of in everyone's face because my authenticity has kind of changed. My approach to authenticity has kind of changed throughout. At first, it was telling people that I'm authentic. For example, which you said, I don't do drugs, I do this and I do that. It's very in your face. I'm different, and I'd like to tell you that I'm different so you can know that I'm different. Now it's different. I've been saying the word different a lot. But yes, now the authenticity has developed and it's more expressive. You hear it now in the music, and you can't, for example, you can't quite pin down what I sound like and the genre or who I sound like, and that has become my authenticity throughout. And it's very important to my music because it helps me stand out. That's very important in the industry. If you sound like everyone else, the odds of you making it out do become lower. And I'm trying to maximize the odds without compromising my morals and my standards.
Okay. One thing I noticed from your first songs is that you always have been talented. I was listening to your earlier songs this morning, and I remember thinking, man, this guy was talented back then. I believe your first release was
Appreciate that.
2018, if I'm not mistaken.
It was 2018.
With the Rich Midget.
With Rich Midget.
And I was listening to your songs. I'm like, bro, this guy is talented, man. Did you feel like you were different? I mean, did you feel like you were different than a lot of rappers your age back then?
Yeah. I did feel it, and it was only reinforced by the fact that people told me that I was different.
Okay. So it wasn't, you weren't aware of it. You wouldn't have been aware of it if people hadn't told you.
I was already aware of it, but it was kind of
And how did you know you were different?
the same way everyone knows I'm different. How do you know I'm different?
Because I can listen to your song.
Right? The same way that I listen to mine and I listen to other people's, I feel that I'm able to express things that most people aren't able to express sonically through production and through production. I didn't produce my records back then, and through lyricism. It's hard actually to express, and I am becoming much better at expression, and it's separating me from my peers over here.
Okay.
Yes. That, and I draw influence from very different things, and I'd like to say that I am a creative person.
Okay.
And it's all played a role equally in shaping me.
How do you think you compare to other rappers, young rappers and mods in this country? Your skill compared to their skill?
Man, I don't want to clarify that this is not coming from a place of ego.
Exactly. Let me say something. I can feel that within you, you think you are the best. You feel in your head that you are the best. You may not be the best, but in your head, that's the way it is.
I feel it.
Okay, that's exactly
Yes,
what.
exactly.
That's exactly what
and
it
it doesn't
looks
come from a place of ego. It comes.
Exactly.
It's genuine. I genuinely
think that
feel
you're good.
that I am very good and that I am the best, and that no one fucking compares to me
Yeah, bro.
in this realm.
Respectfully.
Right. Respectfully.
Yeah, I know that.
Respectfully.
I know exactly.
Do you feel like you're the best rapper in the world to ever exist?
Not yet. No, not yet. Kendrick Lamar exists. Earl Sweatshirt exists. Who else? Pusha T exists. Many people are very good, and it'll take some time for me to develop that level of skill. But here, I don't think these guys can chat to me yet. Yes.
Okay.
I like that a lot.
All right. I noticed a shift in your music from the most recent years in 2020, I think. When you started rapping in songs like Unmasked, for example, you shared personal stories. And in the most recent ones, you started addressing more mainstream topics such as love and using love with different sounds in your music, with melodies. Was that a strategic attempt to make your music more appealing to the masses?
No, I wouldn't say it's a strategic attempt to make my music more appealing to the masses. I'd say that it's my development as a musician. Not sticking to one thing, developing and learning throughout the journey. This sound, what you've heard now, recently, in 2 years' time, I'll be making something completely different, I'm sure, right? It might have the best parts of this and the best parts of what you've heard 2 years ago. But it will be completely different. And for one, I don't get bored in the process, because if I'm just pumping out the same thing always, this feels more like a chore than a creative process. Because after all, to create is, to make new things, right? And if you're stuck on things that have already been made and that already exist, of course, you can't perfect things if you don't repeat. There's a certain degree of repetition. I have a lot of unreleased tracks that I've been working on that are aimed at perfecting a certain sound. But no, to answer your question, it's not a shot at the mainstream market.
Okay. Is it fair to say that you share a lot less personal stories in your music now, or that you have shared less personal stories in your music recently, and compared to when you first started rapping, when you first started making music?
Yeah, I think my personal storytelling has become less obvious, but I am telling personal stories. This whole EP, the overarching theme has been working towards an objective, has been going and powering through tough moments in life, and has been about dreams and obstacles in life. And that is the personal story that encompasses me at the moment the most. Every track is a story of a part of my life. Ashtray is a personal story about my struggle with choice and the future. Patience and Competition is about how I'm confident that I am good and that I have what it takes to be the best. And it's about me acknowledging that the market is unforgiving and that mistakes are costly and I should be very cautious and aware of my steps. Take You Away is about personal loss. Trials and Tribulations also has personal aspects to it. It's about the same thing that as Patience and Competition is. It's just different lyrics and a different tone. Ice and Crystals is more feel good, but crystals, I don't have crystals. Metaphorically, it's me feeling good because I feel that I've broken through and I've managed to achieve a goal. I was feeling good on the day that I wrote that track. So the stories are personal, but they are less obvious. They're not obviously stories anymore. But if you pay attention and you sit down, you realize that it's very progressive and that it's about me more than any other track or record has been.
I guess you don't speak about yourself the way that you did. I guess you don't verbally say, this is about me and this is what I'm experiencing at the moment.
Right, I don't say it, but it is about me and it is about what I'm experiencing at the moment. And it's up to the listener to figure it out. It's this show don't tell technique. I'm not trying to be in your face anymore. If you figure it out, then congrats. You've listened to it and you've listened to it attentively and you've managed to pick the layers. And if you haven't and you enjoy the sound, then that's good on you too. You're a casual and I respect that. But I will be making some personal stories, more personal, obvious personal stories in the future. Storytelling like Duckworth, Kendrick Lamar, Wet Dreams by J. Cole. But as of late, they have been personal in a different way.
Okay.
In a less obvious way.
But when you make music, what is your target audience?
People like you and I, private school people, primarily. The primary target audience is private school people because they tend to understand English better and they will usually resonate with the lyrics better. Young people, aged 14 to 25, around that age, they usually tend to fuck with the genre more.
The rap.
And all of the modern stuff. And that is my target audience.
Do you not think you're limiting yourself by primarily making music to that demographic of people?
When I'm making music, I'm not even thinking about target audience. I'm thinking about making music that I enjoy first and foremost. And then I ask myself, how marketable is this? Should I release it? A great example is Trials and Tribulations. The first part is very weird, if I do say so myself. It doesn't sound like anything I've ever made, especially the drums. It has a different time signature, which isn't the usual 4/4. If you pay attention, it even sounds like I'm offbeat, but I'm not. It's just it's very experimental. And I was unsure on whether I should have released it or not because people would probably not like it. But I liked it and I felt that it was worth sharing, so I did. So when I'm making music, I don't have a target audience in mind, only when I'm marketing. And I don't think I'm limiting myself, I think I'm being realistic, because if you choose to target a certain audience, then it's easier to make marketing strategies to appeal to those audiences.
Do you not feel that? Do you not feel that by specifically targeting private school kids in Mozambique, you are not giving yourself the opportunity to expand and create a large fan base?
It's the primary audience. There's also other audiences, I must clarify. There's also the public school audience, which is actually a prominent part, prominent part is the private school, and then there's the secondary, which is public school. They usually like more wavy, so to say.
So earlier in the podcast, you spoke about promotion. Now, what have you done to promote the whole release so far? And what are you planning to do in the next 4 weeks?
Are you talking about paid promotions or
promotion in general? What have you done to promote the music?
Okay. So the first thing, which I feel is important, like I don't even know if I should disclose everything because, well, I will disclose what I feel like I feel that should be disclosed. Now,
why do you feel like there's some things you shouldn't disclose?
Because marketing is manipulation, right? And if you give away that you're manipulating people and how you're manipulating people, they'll be aware that they're being manipulated, and it's not the effect isn't the same.
Does the manipulation have a negative effect on them?
What do you mean?
Because you speak as though it's something bad or evil.
No, people want to be in charge of their decisions, and marketing is making people believe that they're in charge of it. Making it believe that it's out of their own volition. And if you tell them that you're doing things a certain way, that makes them think that they're in power, they'll be aware of it, and it won't have the same effect. So there are certain things that I can't disclose because the marketing won't have the same effect. If one person knows it, probably tell the other. Then two people know it. Loose lips sink ships. Yeah, that's the same.
Okay.
So I think that would be bad in the sense that for him, because people would understand it and they'd look at whatever he's posting with like an extra thought.
Mm-hmm.
There's a double meaning under what he's doing. Am I falling into a trap? Something like that.
Okay.
So they would be like less inclined to be like, let me see what he's on about. Like a scam.
Exactly. And usually people don't, when they see a post on Instagram, they don't think marketing the first thing.
Yeah.
They don't, right? But now if I tell them, they'll say, marketing.
Yeah, this guy is tactic, isn't it?
You see?
Yeah.
And that's how I look at Instagram posts. I've developed this analytical way of looking at it. When I look at Instagram posts and I look at different people's content, marketing. This is how they're doing it. This is how they're marketing it. I do fall for it sometimes because I'm interested.
Because it's effective.
Because it's effective, right? And I'm curious, and sometimes I genuinely think I'll benefit from it. But it's marketing, and So your question was, I'm sorry.
Can you speak about the things that you can disclose?
Okay, of course. So the number one thing I do believe that is very important is a social media presence, a constant social media presence. Constantly reminds people that you exist, and I've been experimenting with. I haven't done this before. This consistent spree of content. Usually, I would post something once every 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and then disappear from there. I don't like staying on social media, right? But for the sake of music and promotion, I'll do it. So Um, by how I establish a social media presence is by posting things that I believe stay true to the nature of the content I make. They're usually musical. They're usually fitness related, and even on the things that are fitness related, there is a certain tie back to the music that I make. For example, I make some reels that that where I'm in the gym working out and I'm giving my insights on life. You've probably come across it sometime. And if you notice, the instrumentals in the background are the instrumental from the song Ashtray. So it's a subconscious marketing when people listen to it. Oh, this is what he was. It was kind of an Easter egg. It's these little things like this attention to detail that if people pick up on it, they'll realize that okay, this guy is kind of serious about it, and everything is planned, and there's attention to detail. And
That's creative, bro.
It's thank you. And I've also spoken to a friend who is the best marketer, around our age that I know. This is something she's really good at. And funny enough, we've been applying the same tactics. Of course, she's doing some shit. She's incredible. So she does what I do and even more. But I figured out that I've been doing some of the same stuff that she does. Now, in addition to that, there's Instagram posts. The different things I post are intended to do different things. For example, if I choose to post the pictures that I want to carry the most. Okay, I don't think I can say this now. I can say it later after the podcast too. Right. So there's a social media presence, and then there is what you believe people will resonate with, right? So being a musician, it would be weird and very uncharacteristic if I build a social media presence by making comedy skits. Right? I make comedy skits and then I release a song. Some people are going to go to my channel for the comedy and then they're going to be like, okay, what the fuck? This guy is actually a musician, not a comedian. Baffled, right? Those people might like music, the people who went there for the comedy. But it's not very objective. It's not very true to the nature. So you have to stay consistent on that regard. And there's also been some experimentation within that. I've tried different types of content, some more successful than others. And some things I'll definitely be doing more than others. The most successful things, there will be another freestyle. The freestyle has been the most successful thing I've done on Instagram.
15,000 replays, right?
And if I dare say it, it's not even top 5 in my best work. Like,
That's what I thought.
It's not even top 5. So
there's one freestyle you released last year.
I know it freestyle, right?
Yeah,
and I know it.
Exactly.
Right?
Which one?
I feel like that was the Know It freestyle.
Okay, I thought you were talking about what Dilson. No, Dilson was 2020.
Nah, I actually released that one. This one I asked him like, when are you gonna release it? Like, I'm not releasing it.
The fact that you don't even remember it means that the marketing was so bad. I'm sure you would have enjoyed it, right? So that's promotion. Promotion is that important, man. And I wanna keep making freestyles, but I can't, of course, make a freestyle every week. Otherwise, it loses its spark. It's gonna be very well timed. The freestyle was very well timed because it was a week before my release, so it builds up the buzz right before I start announcing the release. So when people are drawn to my channel and to my account, I will be coincidentally, it's not a coincidence, it's planned, but for them it's coincidentally promoting my upcoming music, and they'll be like, oh, this guy's active, this guy's making music, I want to listen to more of that. So there's a lot of that involved. It's a whole spectrum and web of things. I have the whole marketing strategy on my phone. Stretches out to about maybe the 20-something of April. Different content that I plan to make, videos, photos, music. And I've actually been readapting. An example is after I released Ashtray, I felt that my social media presence was too constant. I had to step back. I haven't posted anything Saturday. Nothing on Sunday, nothing on Monday. If you post too much,
It's dry.
It stales out, it loses value. People are like, okay, this guy and this guy and this guy. So prioritize quality over quantity, but not to the point where quantity suffers. still find a sort of middle ground. And then for things like freestyles, quality over quantity entirely. I've been trying to produce new tracks and trying to, you know, conjure up new freestyles. And yeah, things are coming.
Okay. All right. That was the last topic.